All right, guys, welcome back. The final score: Tyranids 83, Necrons 63. It's a new faction, guys. They have different guns. It's all combat based. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about this game. Now, first, we did say these were non-competitive lists.
Mm-hmm.
But those were some mean bugs. That was really tough to deal with when you go, I'm objective control 15.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare to deal with. So initially in that, going into those objective control 15 guys on that, and like you said in the middle of the game, you felt like you had to stop playing defensively, but there really was never a reason for you to.
I mean, I picked the static, so the bring it down was looming on my head to say, like, I have to kill these things. And every time I'd shoot or do anything to them outside of combat, you would just heal them back up. So I'm like, if I'm not getting in combat, I feel like I'm just going to get shot off. So that was part of where I was like trying to hide the whole time. But it was really your spiders. I mean, they really shined, I think, over the Doomstalkers, So that was something that you taught me today for sure.
I don't think they shined. I mean, as the opponent, I can't discredit your opinion on that. I can't.
I didn't like them.
Personally, I love them. But I personally don't think they necessarily completely outshined the Doomstalkers, because the Doomstalkers were very reliable at punching and finishing off. Like, after I did the damage with the spiders, and you look and you're like, okay, he's got 6 wounds left. I'm like, hi, here comes 3 damage on this gun. And then you're like, ooh. And their looming threat constantly had you thinking, like, I need to save the reroll for that. That's a flat 3 damage. That can finish them off. So I think the Doomstalkers served their role. But, I mean, I can't hate when someone loves my spiders. Yeah. I love them. They are one of my favorite units in the Codex, where I have built many lists solely around them, even in this edition. And they do a lot of cool... and speaking of which, I was actually really impressed with the Scarabs.
Yeah,
they did something.
I didn't realize that they blow up like that naturally. That was a really strong thing to be able to, when you did 2 units on the one. You rolled a 1, but if you didn't, it's the potential to just dish out upwards of 12 mortal wounds is nasty from 2 units.
Man, that's just so...
Yeah.
They did a lot better this mission than I expected, and that gives me some hope of maybe changing stuff up with some of my other lists. I wasn't impressed with the Sentinels, but this was not their matchup.
Yeah, right away when everything was that T9 and strength 10, and you were 5s against me the whole time with them, it
just wasn't.
The Doomstalkers were 3s, and then you just sneezed on stuff with 20, 30 shots from the spiders with some mortal wounds. So that really helped, trickle them in.
It's definitely something, though, I'll need to think about with some things moving forward. Now, granted, I'm not expecting that in a tournament setting, I'm going to run into all of them.
No, two is probably the special sweet spot, maybe 3. But
that's what I was going to say. I could even see 3, where each one picks an objective marker and goes, haha, which if I get on this, I'm going to be OC 15. And just then at that point, your opponent is forced to, okay, I guess I got to get rid of this thing. And that's tough. That's tough. Now, granted, some other armies might have some better guns than I do, or I bring to the table for that. That's still a chunky body moving across the field. And that 4-up invuln, too, on the 3 was no bueno. And I can't really say much. I mean, I think everything except for 2 units had 4-up invuln in my army.
Yeah, the one Doomstalker shrugged off everything for a bit, yeah.
Oh, you smacked my Sentinels in combat. And I think you did. I literally... Now that the game's over, I think we could say you did like 9 wounds over 2 Sentinels, and I failed 0.
Yeah, we were debating. I was wanting to split because the one had 2 wounds left, and I'm like, I've got a bunch of flat 3s and some D6s, and we were even saying like, oh, how can we split these attack profiles and what makes sense? And either way, you saved them all, so it didn't matter how I split it. Didn't matter what I threw at it.
And nothing of note was lost.
Yeah, 4 pluses for days. Yeah.
So, but there is now with that. Like we said, with your list right now not being competitive in its current state, playing something like that with that ease of being able to go OC 15, does that kind of put you in a round where you look at some other Tyranid units and go, maybe if I drop these 3 and just add this little bit more, not even the swarmy stuff, but going into other things that maybe have fly, other things that are infantry keyword that can go through walls and just play the secondaries. Does, after seeing something like this and seeing how much power that can press, compel you to maybe invest into those other units, into Tyranids.
Yeah, I mean, I played around with Death Leapers, the new ones, and some other stuff to see what could.
Von Ryans.
Yeah, the Von Ryans and some other things. Again, it was just to say, hey, here's 6 models and it's 1,800 points. But yeah, if you want to make it competitive, you could do 3. Either 2 of the emissaries, 1 assimilator to have that damage, where 2 are just really on the objectives, and then everything else running around. You have plenty of points, almost 1,000 points by taking out those 3 other Norns. So absolutely, you can make something more competitive out of it, and I think we will see a lot of lists with 1 or 2 of these, because you back that up. It's also Synapse Creature. It's also doing a lot of other stuff for the rest of the Tyrian models. You throw in, I wasn't really using the Rippers for that purpose, but you throw in a Ripper Swarm against something, and even if it's a bunch of Terminators and other stuff, you're now half that OC. That just makes that OC 15 that much stronger.
Well, you were also able to spawn off the Parasite, which we didn't get to see this game because you were
no infantry that you brought. It's all vehicles and swarms. So the one time I was tempted to use it, there was
1 infantry model.
It's just your character, Yep.
Well, I'll be.
And you have to kill it with that attack. It only does D3. So there was
attack.
It's 1 attack, anti-infantry 3 up, and it hits on 2s, but it's only doing D3 wounds. So
got it. They dropped they don't have that was the gestation sack from 9th edition that would let you just spit 3 guys down. Or
you got to actually kill an infantry, and then from that infantry model, Rippers spawn out, and they actually it's really fun. They actually come right into engagement range, so they start fighting that unit that just lost a model to it.
Nice, and they just start eating them. Nice.
Yep. It's really thematic, but it's not the easiest to get off. And he was happily getting me points in the back, and I was trying to avoid the assassinate, but of course it came up, and you could get the scarabs over there. That helped you get a little bit of points.
There was one move that no one got to see, and we discussed this afterwards. That there was a moment in time where I was talking to Markus about this, and we were discussing it where the positions were. And it was with his last emissary that was able to bring on. And he originally was going to place it over here to be able to start getting in my backfield and charging. And I was sitting over there salivating. And I'm like, I really think you should put him over and take that objective. I really think you should go and cover your home objective. And then Markus stood there, looked back and forth all the options and considered it. He's like, I do need to have some back here. And he put him back here. And then afterwards I said, I'm like, because if you didn't, man, it was a tasty, tasty spot. Bring that Sentinel in and take that objective.
Yep.
And I was trying to figure it. But by not doing that, and also controlling and making sure that you had something on those all the way through, you ran away with the primary, that there was nothing I could do to come back. Like, I was hopeful, like early game during turns 1, 2, and 3, I knew you were going to score heavy on those primary. My mind was I was going to 15-15 on turn 4 and 5.
Yep.
Because I was seeing that it's like, well, wait, I'm actually doing some damage here. But again, the speed and the speed in dealing with we were both dealing with it, not being able to go through buildings. Yeah, that makes things tough.
Yep. Yeah. If the Norns had wings, they'd be too strong. Way too strong.
Norns had wings. You heard it here first. If Norns had wings. That was one big hit, and a dice moment was not killing that Norn at center early. Like him sitting around one more turn. He stuck around 2 turns too long. That would have been able to give me an additional 5 points on those backwater turns, which then put me back. Now, we're looking at 10 extra points in our 20-point deficit. The other 10 come from, my secondary deck hated me today. And don't get me wrong, this is not like, because I failed that, because of this. Because those things happened, and because you made the conscious choice to stay on those objectives and not get super aggressive and push into me and not suddenly think you're an orc. But because you didn't suddenly go into orc mode, with those 2 things occurring, one, if the secondaries went bad, but I killed the dude, I lose by 10 points. If the secondaries go good, but I don't kill the dude, I lose by 10 points. And I mean, we're talking probability here. Chances are something in that mix is going to go wrong. You got both of them. But by playing that way, you just said, if one of these things happen, there's nothing you can do. It's one of those times where it's like at that point, like turn 3, the game was over. I thought about looking at a gambit, but there's 2 reasons. One, those other gambits that don't involve the corners are really complicated, and I did not want to deal with that right now tonight. No.
Yeah.
But number two, I didn't feel like also I was in a position to get it. And number two, I really still confidently felt like I was going to get primaries.
Mhm.
And then I just got walled. It didn't happen. And then also at the same time too, I do think I got overconfident because as much as I say, oh, your dice went hot on your saves, there's a lot of situations early, your dice were very cold on damage.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of times that like I was probably getting in my head, getting a little overconfident, like, well, you're not killing anything. That's what happens when you don't roll sixes.
Mhm.
And that I think that also affects it. So now we go back and we twist into that. What if I do damage and then you return fire and do damage as well? And hey, guess what? Turn two, wraiths are gone. That changes because now that
the race stuck there for a while with that too. Yeah, because right away I had 5 or 7 wounds left after the first turn. You right away did a nice chunk, and it gave me that pit feeling where I was like, oh, I'm not as durable. And then it stuck, and then that gave me that overconfidence to throw out the emissary over here, where then your spiders were like, hold on,
like wait, you're not quite as tough.
Yeah. Now, and then moving off that objective, that was the thing. Being on the objective makes all the difference with those.
And this Norn, the
assimilator one?
The one that was over here.
Yeah.
He also was tagged to that objective as well, I believe, wasn't he?
No. So I put both over. That's where the one was sitting here for ages. Okay. And when he came up here, he didn't have anything. So that was one thing that I did make a big mistake. After looking at the field again, this is the most exposed. I should have had 2 on there for sure. Maybe even 3 of them could have put on that middle objective. Absolutely.
I agree, especially because this one was so hidden.
No need.
There was no need. So you could have put all 3 here and
absolutely.
Said at any point you would have been. Yeah, I do agree that in the future that would be probably
like just all yeah. When you have this many options, yeah. Mm-hmm. If I only had 1 or 2, yeah, it might make it a little bit more difficult of a choice, but yeah.
Nope. But that was a lot of fun. And this is one of the ones where I can definitely walk away with a smile on my face. Yes, both of our armies were not built to be competitive, but here's the thing: Markus gets to walk away with a W, and I get to walk away with saying my bugs beat your bugs up.
I got no bugs left.
You got skitteries.
You took the bug spray out. Yep.
So that's going to be about it. One thing I'm going to say now, this was one of our fun. I've said a couple times, and the reason why I want to keep emphasizing it is now we're going to be getting ready to start introducing the first Tim's Nation title belt here soon. And as I've said a couple times, the way this is going to work is it's not going to be about a army list that is going to be the champion. It is going to be about the faction. So in this scenario, if Markus beat me, now he is champion, but he is champion with Tyranids, and he must defend it in at least a month, or it's taken away because I got to keep things rolling on the channel. But he would play as Tyranid. So if I face him off again with Necrons, he can build an army that's tailored to fight Necrons as I were to him. Means that we might see some different units that we wouldn't normally see. Alas, this is not a title match. This is a exhibition, as it would be. A contest for gentlemen that we play with little toys and bugs for most of them. So, Markus, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me
on the channel, guys. Hopefully, enjoyed the battle report, and look forward to more updates soon on when we're going to start doing that tournament and what's all going to be involved. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.